is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and tonight it is our monthly Power Circle community call where we get together on some subject, and tonight is going to be Neptune in Aries and the spiritual warrior. I'm so excited to go over this, but you all are going to laugh because I caught myself somewhere along the way. It turns out we've already talked about Neptune's ingress to Aries. I was ahead of myself. So that recording was in your access note, and it'll be in the post call goodies. And it's where we went through the technical things about Neptune entering Aries. So I'm not going to go detailed into it, but I'm going to do a quick review for anyone new or just getting to it. Then we're going to go into the fun for the night. As I said at the top, Neptune is about other dimensions. So we're leaving the middle world behind. We're leaving 3D behind for an hour, 90 minutes at the most. We're activating our Iwadu or our imaginations so that we can come up with more creative solutions to these appearances out in our physical world. This is Neptune, of course, is associated with our spiritual side of our lives and our beliefs and our consciousness. Generally, whatever you believe is true is at least true for you. So know that that's fluid. What was true yesterday may not be true today, and that doesn't make it good, bad, right, or wrong. It's just no longer true. And it's okay to evolve in that. And that's what we do every time Neptune changes signs, which is only every 14 years. So it's a long 14-year process that we are entering into that comes to initiate the bigger 165-year cycle that Neptune represents. So this is collective, and this is bigger than you, the individual, but everything I do is geared toward the support for the individual. So that's the kind of questions in the divinations I asked about, was what kind of support you need to navigate properly for the next 14 years, knowing that it's a process, knowing that. So we start with a little Neptune overview. Like I said, I'll do this full on, but then I'm just going to go through the highlights of what we did on the other call, because you can definitely have that to turn to when you have time. And I don't even think it was long. I think it was 43 minutes. But Neptune spends 14 years in a sign and takes 165 years to make it through all 12. And here we are coming out of Pisces going into Aries. This means that its effects are much more subtle, less obvious, and take longer to manifest. This is a collective planet which moves great numbers of people along their evolutionary path, and everyone born in that 14-year period will share an ideal, a dream, or a vision for ourselves and humanity. So we're birthing that spiritual warrior archetype with Neptune in Aries, but we have to complete the mission, and we still have a little bit more to do with Pisces to close it out and develop our vision for what kind of spiritual warrior you want to be, right? We get to choose. Neptune guides all things spiritual, aspirational, inspirational, and reverent. It rules our imagination and the type of creativity that is boundless, transcending time and space as we know it. When you want to deepen your dedication to your spiritual practices, connect to a greater vision, or navigate other dimensions that you can only access with your own imagination, then call in Neptune's energy to assist. Okay, so anytime we want to do this, work with our spirit team is the top of the list. So that's another thing that's going to come through over and over throughout the night, is cultivating that relationship with your spirit team so you can rely on it. Strengthening, fortifying your intuition and instincts like a muscle, working it constantly, so that you can validate what you're picking up. Anytime you're spending time in nature, near the ocean, or in dream time, Neptune is guiding you. So that's where we're headed, y'all. It is useful to cultivate a relationship with this part of yourself. I call it your invisible team or your spirit team. In many cultures, it is said that we have guides that walk with us our entire lifetime and many lifetimes. The more you consciously tend to and fortify the relationship with your spirit team, the more tangible results are possible. Neptune also reminds us about boundaries of all kinds. The boundaries between worlds, dimensions, and space-time as we know it, and how we go beyond those boundaries, as well as how we get trapped within the confines of this reality by hanging on to old definitions of reality. So that's another thing that we're redefining as Saturn leaves Pisces and goes into Aries. We get to define a whole new reality, and we get to initiate a whole new 30-year cycle of how we're going to walk through in a very physical, literal way. So this is deep, that we get the dreams and vision planet along with the reality planet together in the same place That hasn't happened. I think it's written down somewhere. I want to say the 1800s is the last time that Neptune was there. So we're talking at least that long. And so these are some interesting cycles to co-create with consciously, let's just say. And then, of course, understanding the lessons and things that are coming up, or where Neptune might be dissolving in the Aries department coming up, as it has for the last 14 years in our Pisces department. Like I said, what was true 14 years ago that is not true today, and what was not true then that is true today for you. Like, keep this personal. Like I said, the other call has all these details, but the last time that Neptune was in Aries was 1861 to 75. So it's that little zone of the late 1800s that's awakening again very clearly. And so one of the other reasons I went deep into divinations on this one was because that's what we need the most. We need protection navigating the crazy and the crumble and the break the real line that Earth is going through and that culture is going through and that we're all going through, right? So being able to, like I said, leave that middle world to the side and go into the lower world, which has a lot to do with this lifetime's embodiment, or you go into the upper realms to talk to those guides. You know, we have guides on every level. We even have middle world guides, but we have guides that can help see things in our middle world that we can't see because we in it, okay? And sometimes when you're in it or you're going through it, you can't really see what's what. But once you get out of it, or once you've passed through this vortex and you look back, you can see things a little differently. And that's another reason we love our imagination, because this gets us to connect to the possibilities, the infinite possibilities of how this could all play out, right? That's what we're also asking for. Also, on the other call, we would have gone into the aspects to cultivate: spiritual warrior, intuition and instincts, faith in yourself, direct relationship with spirit, self-awareness and clarity versus delusion, because it can bring up that too, and releasing the shadow of idealistic worldview, perfectionism, impatient and deceitful, which is probably shadow Aries as it goes into that, inadequate personal boundaries, being misled or misunderstood, right? We're going to get so clear internally that there will be no question externally what we're trying to do. And that is a beautiful thing. And there's specific activations while Neptune is moving through Aries and then dips back to Pisces. There's some bigger things going on. It's going to mix it up with Jupiter and Uranus. Now, the Jupiter one is a square, so it's a challenge to grow out of our comfort zone into new territory around our belief system. So that's one thing that's definitely getting an upgrade. And then it's going to have an opportunity between Uranus and Neptune 5 times over while they dance on this edge, going back and forth between them. Like, Uranus is going to dip back into Taurus right when Neptune dips back into Pisces, and they're going to hit at 29 degrees. But for the most part, it's Gemini to Aries in their new spaces. And this is where there's an opportunity to change our beliefs and to change our narrative and to change that, you know, to imagine something different. We want to tap into that, but that's long term. That's all the way through 27. That's a couple times a year and keeps it moving. And then there were special divinations we did there, but I went down a different rabbit hole for this one. And like I said, I'll put the other replay in your post-call goodies so it's easy to access, but it is up on the YouTube and podcast channels for you. So what I was thinking we would do tonight is really dive deep into this spiritual warrior archetype and just touch in on that specifically, because it kind of permeates everything else. Before I get into the light and shadow, different aspects of things, I do want to give you one little technical piece of information. April, right now, to October is the time period that Neptune is dipping its toe into Aries. And so this is where we want to develop the vision and start thinking about what it is to walk as a spiritual warrior on the planet during the time of change and rebirth like this. And then it's going to go back to Pisces, October of 25 to February of 26. So just a couple months, and then that's it. And that's our final closure. For us, it would be the last 14 years, since nobody lives to 165 at this time. So think about what it's going to mean to go back to that, where I think what we're doing now is getting a glimpse of where we're headed. And when we go back to Pisces, we get to develop the vision of how we want to do it versus how we might be reacting or responding to the world cues, okay? And how we want to do that completely differently to be safe, to be grounded, to be protected from the chaos, right? as Yeye would say, not in my village, doing everything you can do to protect yourself, because that's the Aries energy, while entering into a new dream, let's say. And what does that look like for you? And then after that, spiritual warrior is being born anew from February 26th on to 2039. It's a whole 14-year cycle. So let's think about that. Also, I wanted to mention we should consult the healthy, well, benevolent ancestors from the 1860s and 70s to ask them to guide us on how to navigate this kind of energy that they survived. They got through. They had ways. And we might need some of them ways right now. So we're working this energy in a real personal way in the Venus Circle. For those who have their reading and custom guide, I'm going to be using our page 17, what I call the inner warrior, which is the same thing as a spiritual warrior. It's where you work from this other dimension and be very proactive on your own behalf. But generally, any kind of warrior knows how to survey the present, clear the past, and prepare for the future, which is all of what we're doing here. And so there is a lot to release and clear out and flush out with the Pisces era, let's say, and be prepared for this Aries era. 14 years is pretty long. And I've got some fun things around the divinations and the number 14, so I hope Kimberly's in here somewhere. But we are releasing selfishness and self-destructiveness, that whole do-it-alone, do-it-yourself thing. I say in our healing, education, and soul work, you have to do it yourself, but you do not have to do it alone. And by the same token, we say warriors fight alone while soldiers fight together. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth between our inner soldier and warrior, too, with this. When do we fight together, and when do we need to just fight for ourselves and our own safety? But the shadow that we're dealing with can be really deep anger and negative emotions, taking things personally, over-sensitivity, I'm sure that's on here somewhere, over-emotional and reactive instead of responsive. If we were in our feelings the right way, feeling what's going on and not reacting to what we're seeing, to really feel in our bodies what is the proper response at this time. And practice. There's no perfection. Sleepwalking through life where you're just not even connected, and so very often you can walk into a wall and bump your head. Things are going to happen if you're not conscious, and then very often when you're not conscious, things happen over and over, and nobody likes repeating mistakes. So we want to be alert but still sensitive. We want to have good boundaries but still aware of what's going on around us. There's a delicate balance. We're releasing overthinking and overanalyzing. There's some ways where we go into the Neptune, the illusion, delusions, and we don't process what's happening correctly, or we overprocess. There's a big shadow with Neptune of the no self-control or being undisciplined, and specifically in Aries. That's a shadow Aries thing too. Exile, wandering, or no purpose. It's almost like life is too short. Time is of the essence, even if it is a construct we made up. We've got a little window here to do what we came to Earth to do. And if we're distracted by survival mode or social chaos or collective chaos, then we're not getting our mission done. And in Aries, it's all about your mission, for real. And so what is the new dream for you, the individual, for your mission, for your identity, for your purpose? That's what Neptune's going to help us shape. From the subconscious realm, from these other dimensions, it's going to be shaping things under the surface while we're going about our day-to-day Aries actions and choices. We're clearing out apathy, weakness, and fear. Only imbalanced Aries would do that. Generally, if they're very strong and courageous. Hesitation, inaction, and doubt. That might get you killed these days. This is why being connected to your instincts and intuition is so vital, because you need to know for you what the right move is. Not the group, but for you, the individual. And then you can branch out and think about the group, like family and friends and whatnot. Lack of adequate boundaries, okay? If they're not adequate and strong enough, then you get overwhelmed by what's going on around you, and then you're dragged along with the wave. Remember, we're all in the ocean tonight. Chaotic thinking and overwhelm, then we go all over the place. Self-conscious and uncomfortable in your own skin. The other thing about Neptune is it's related to the womb energy, right? So when we're in the womb, you can hear the sounds and life going on around you, but it's muffled. You're not sure where it's coming from. You're not sure if it's inner or outside, inside or outside. You don't know what's happening. That's what happens when we're in these depths like this, or in outer space depths. It can be a lot. So just being mindful of what you're picking up, and is this me or someone else? Is this a perception or reality? Your filter's got to get really clean, and your filter questions got to be right at the tip of your tongue for everything. Ego, narcissism, and cruelty. Deep breath. That's some deep shadow, Aries stuff. Being indecisive and unprepared. Flying by the seat of your pants can work, but don't expect it to always work. Withdrawing from life altogether, just quitting, I can't do it my way, so I'm not going to do it at all. That's not a good way to go either. Limited thinking and pettiness, again, with being distracted with the little things when the big vision is right there, needing some nourishment or attention. Inflexibility, rigidity, and distraction. Huge, huge. We can't afford it. We have to be flexible and fluid, but still dedicated and clear about the direction we want to go. Otherwise, we do get carried away by the wave. Confusion and uncertainty, very shallow. We're going to release all of that, or release it every day, release it as you go. But on the positive side, the spiritual warrior is the one that helps you choose your path and commit and kind of own it. Brings up your energy and motivation. What's your why? Why do you want what you want? Why do you want the dream you want? What is that dream? And being proactive on your own behalf. If you want it, you're going to have to go after it, and you're going to have to do it mostly yourself. You're going to need help because nobody can do anything alone. But these days, if you're not proactive on your own behalf, the machines will take you away because they're just working off of whatever computer input went in, and they can be wrong. And there's a whole generation coming out that swears by the computer being right all the time, and that's not true. And so if you're not proactive on your own behalf, you're going to get got. There's a lot of scams, and there's a lot of crazy out there. We're coming out of 14 years of victim oversensitivity, confusion about everything. Everything. It's been utter confusion. That's shifting, especially with Saturn going into Aries too. So between the two of them, we're going to get real present to how all this is a violation to our soul, our individual soul. A lot of this is really unnatural, and humans that have any empathy, psychic, intuitive, instinctive ability feel it. Even if there's not a language or a protocol for us to get out of it, it's still, you can feel it. So we're activating that ultimate courage and clarity and discernment. Again, you got to be clean in your system so that you can sense and feel and rely on your intuition and what you're picking up, and be very discerning about where you put your energy and the choices you make going forward. And these choices are all contributing to that bigger dream. Being more alert, awake, and vital, whatever it takes, we want to vitalize that dream every day, all the time. We want to tap in and give it some energy so that it can come to fruition. Goals, focus, and discipline. So now we're trying to do something Neptune ain't good at. So that's the other reason why we take it into the spiritual realms, maybe being more disciplined with your interactions with your spirit team, with validating your intuition and instincts and how things come up and when you were right and when you were wrong, so that you can track what was going on and what made you right and what made you wrong during those times is going to be another part of it. Like, again, a do-it-yourself kind of energy behind it. That goes for your spiritual practices as well. It's like if you don't do it, it ain't getting done. And if you don't hold that structure, you could get overwhelmed by someone else's structure or someone else that's guiding the wave, the bigger wave. Being mindful, intuitive, and instinctive is just part of the spiritual warrior stance. Like, this is woven in. And so you're learning how to be strong about what you're picking up that might not be visible. Confidence, faith, and integrity. Staying strong in that. Like I said, whatever you believe is going to be true for you. So let's clean that up if we need to. The strategy, plans, and tactics. Here's what is a big deal. Because of it being Neptune and going into Aries, again, you need a strategy, a plan to go at your spiritual practices, yes. But I'm also thinking about spiritual tactics in the sense that you can't go at this 3D nonsense directly. It's going to work better if you do the work to change 3D in another dimension. Because 3D is broken right now. 3D is out to lunch. 3D is unavailable for consultation. Like, it ain't working in 3D right now. So in order for us to make progress while it's crumbling and rebirthing right before our eyes, then you have to be able to jump timelines and jump dimensions with a little bit of ease and grace. And the spiritual tactics is like what Ye teaches in the spiritual activism class. We're activists and we're protesting, but we're doing it at our altars. And it's much safer and it's actually more productive to do it that way. So that's what I was thinking about. And that's going to come up later on, y'all. Over and over, a lot of these are going to come up. Clear, strong boundaries. We ain't had no boundaries for 14 years with the Neptune and Pisces. None. Zero. Zip. It's been impossible to put a boundary on something. People lose their minds if you put a boundary on something. It was crazy. But Aries don't play that. And now, if I know who I am, I know what I want, and I know where my boundary is. So you better get your boundary together. You know, like I don't know. We're just stepping into this zone for the first time in a lifetime. So we're going to learn together, y'all. Adaptable, flexible, and present. That's also the spiritual warrior, okay? Again, with being flexible and fluid with the responses, like let's stick and move. Let's not let it get us down or slow us down. But like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. That didn't work. Okay, let's try something else. Okay, that didn't work. Let's try this over here. And Aries gets that stubbornness to it to like, we're going to do it till we get it right. It's coming in, again, from... If we're still staying on Neptune, then this is being, again, proactive in these other realms. I'm going to do my spiritual work. I'm going to show up at the altar. I'm going to do what's asked of me by my spirit team so that I can affect this and have the 3D experience I want to have and that I signed up for. Because let me tell you, a lot of this nonsense going on, I didn't sign up for none of that. None of it. But here we are. Self-sufficient, strong, and capable. Again, if you're really close and tight with your spirit team, you can walk through with your head up high and your shoulders back and like, this is what I'm doing. Get in where you fit in. And owning that Aries inner knowing of decisiveness type of thing. Like, I know what I want and this is how I'm going to get it done. That's where we're going. And a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. A lot of people are much more comfortable being led down something, but that's not going to work anymore. And you could get truly led astray that way. So you have to know from inside what you want. Otherwise, you're going to have to settle for what you get, and I don't even believe in that. Train, practice, and prepare. This is going to be huge. Nothing's going to work without some practice and preparation. None of it. And again, it's kind of up to you to handle that. Direct, decisive, and skilled. I just touched on that. You know, we're going to get much more, we're going to get better at that, right? So that our spirit team knows what we want before we even ask half the time. I mean, that's when it's really working. And all you got to do is imagine and get that vision. And they're like, okay, let's make some moves. And it starts moving things around to allow you to do what you got to do. But that doesn't happen overnight. Rituals and ceremonies and tracking and paying attention to what works and what doesn't is all part of being a priest or priestess. Full engagement with life. That's another thing. The spiritual warrior is alive. It's alive with the spirit coming through us, that fiery spirit. That original spirit that you came in with is what I think we should go for. Embodiment, power, and accuracy. They're not up in their heads. They're still in their bodies, even though we're working from these other realms, right? And dedication to a greater cause very often happens. And fierce loyalty and commitment. You know, once you decide, it's on and popping. That's that. And that's a good way to roll. Now, the funny thing was, I got to tell you what happened. Well, we could take a quick pause if anyone wants to jump in and start 6 before I go into the divinations because they're pretty juicy. But I was having a hard time picking a deck. And nothing was working and nothing was feeling right. And then I got to the dragon cards and I thought, oh, this is otherworldly like Neptune and fiery like Aries. And maybe the dragon worked. And it kind of worked. It was all right. Some of the responses made sense, but it didn't really work. In the end, I ended up going with the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck by Kyle Gray. This made sense because they have a bunch of what's called guardians in there. And I think as we navigate Neptune, in order to keep our Aries selves safe, we're going to need different guardians for different reasons. So that came up pretty clear and on point. And then dealing with multidimensionality, transcending time and space, like I said, this is where we're headed when we talk about Neptune. And so I just allowed spirit to flow. and I wrote down the word spiritual, and then I just started pouring out what they were. And I got all the way to, I ran out of words from my consciousness anyway. I'm sure there's more and you guys can add some. But it ended up being exactly 14. And I am a 32-5. So 14, 23, 32, 50, lots of 5, 41. Lots of numbers come up as a 5. But here it was 14 years, and I have 14 different spiritual somethings that we could actually pick one a year to focus on. So do what you feel. This list will be in your goodies. I'm just going to jot it down so that you have it in the back of your mind while we go through the divinations as things are popping. Now, what's weird, and I can't tell you why it went down this way, but I basically went through and chose 10 to do divinations with. And I could have done 14. I don't know why I stopped at 10, y'all. But a lot of them are worked into the divinations. But spiritual warrior. This is how we have to think about making moves through our Aries in the future. Spiritual activism, what that means to you. I want you defining these terms for yourself. Spiritual discipline, what does that mean? Like I said, we're going to be much more disciplined with our spirit team and consistent and conscientious and responsive. Spiritual courage and conviction, what does that mean to you? Really being inspired from within, but being so connected to your intuition that you're unwavering, that conviction is just there. Spiritual boundaries and protections, very big deal. What does that mean to you? And it's huge because, like I said, we have to protect ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, and in these various dimensions. It's crazy. Spiritual beliefs and imagination. Okay, so this is a big one because we're imagining how can we live our dream amidst this chaos. And what I tell my young son is that every decade comes with a crisis. Every generation has a dream, but every generation also has something to deal with and navigate. That's what's happening here. So while that's going on and that social collective does affect you individually, I still want you staying locked in on your individual beliefs and how they manifest or don't, and how your individual imagination supports you or not. Because the poor use of our imagination is to imagine the worst case scenarios. Well, that's not what imagination is for you to imagine doom and gloom. It's for you to imagine the antidote to that crazy. And we're going to practice and get strong at that over the next 14 years. Spiritual illusions and bypassing. Okay, now we all know folks that totally don't do their soul work. They can speak the language, but because they haven't done the work, they keep getting tripped up. That's what spiritual bypassing is, when you don't do your own soul work and when you don't do your shadow work and you don't understand what's operating from your subconscious, which is also very much Neptune's realm. So we got to be mindful about your individual Aries subconscious, not what's happening around that's triggering you, but what is it going on under the line. And a lot with Aries is self-sabotage. So we don't want to do that. In Pisces, we didn't want to be the victim. Now we don't want to do ourselves in. There's enough challenges we got to push through as it is. The spiritual revolution, what does that look like for you, and how do you define your terms? Spiritual vision and creativity. Now again, we're going back to that third eye, Iwaju, and activating what's necessary to manifest the vision or our consciousness is giving us at the time. Spiritual sovereignty, what does that mean to you? Being able to believe what you want to believe. That's fine if it works for you, but that's the thing. We can't expect everyone to get it. Spiritual rituals and practices. That's what's going to get clearer and clearer as we go. The spiritual path. How much energy have you been able to give to your spiritual path? A lot of us have got to be in survival mode and don't have a lot of time to work with the spirit team. But what I'm going to tell you about that is that the spirit team is much more effective. And all our ripping and running and trying to get things right in a certain way through our human selves, the spirit can cut through that. It's like red tape they can cut through with no problem. So it's almost more valuable for you to cultivate your relationship with your spirit team than it is to be spinning your wheels out here in 3D trying to get something done. Spiritual perspective. We also want to look at our lives from these multi-dimensions, from these other perspectives. What does it look like from another angle? And get that alternate perspective, because it might give you a little piece. You know how sometimes you see, you didn't even think it was possible until you saw it done somewhere, until you heard about it somewhere. Then you're like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. Yeah. We need some new perspectives. Spiritual mysteries. Okay, now we're going into the ancient and some things that cannot be explained, but we know are real in our spirit, in our souls. Spiritual strategy and tactics, which I believe is one of the divinations. Like I said, going at things from a spiritual angle can sometimes be more effective. Spiritual dimensions, spiritual attunement. How are you attuned to these other dimensions? Like, some people are good at it, some people not so much. And it's okay either way, but you want to have some association, some kind of comfort level with your spiritual side. Spiritual calling. What happens when you really are driven, like, on a calling that feels bigger than you? And there's a lot of that going on too. Spiritual narrative. What kind of narrative are you living, and what kind of beliefs is it rooted in? What are you believing to be true or possible? Spiritual truth and reverence. Really honoring the other realms, let's just say. Honor and acknowledge goes a long way. Spiritual needs and desires, which actually does kick off our divination. That's the thing. Everybody's different. So what are your spiritual needs? What are your spiritual desires? I love magic. I love synchronicity. I love being attuned to these other dimensions because I see miracles happen behind it. And so I have a deeper need and a deeper desire than average Joe walking down the street. So know what your levels are and feed them accordingly. Spiritual work and dedication. There's some people that don't even tend to their spirit. They don't even acknowledge it, let alone work and dedication. But when you work, they support you. Spiritual connection, knowing that you're connected along these lines, and spiritual nature. There's an emotional nature. There's a physical nature. There's a spiritual nature. There's an aspect of your nature that's wired in, and that's part of Neptune's generational thing. Is the crew that came in, and this list will be in your post-call goodies too. I just basically went back to the 1861 Aries one, so we have a full Aries to Pisces of what we can track back as the generations. When 1970 to 84 babies came in with SAD, and I'm doing readings, I always say Catholicism would have never worked on y'all because you came in already wired for God. Already connected, very much with the Scorpio one, too, that I'm part of, 1955 to 1970, the Scorpio-Sag zone. It's like we're wired for God, but the Sag for real, definitely. And so you start to look at the generation's beliefs, right, and how they supported or did not, whatever the shadows were. You start to understand your elders better. So there is something, too, and there's a generational article I'll attach that's short and sweet and easy to go down, but it helps you understand the most recent generations, which are most likely your parents and grandparents. All right. None of these have numbers, so Kimberly's off the hook. So we start with guidance for navigating your spiritual needs and desires. And we got the Animal Guardian, which says, trust your instincts. The message is trust the powerful animal spirit within to learn more about yourself and your talents. The Animal Guardian is the card that represents the angels of the animal kingdom. Animals are angels of nature who have incredible lessons to offer and medicine that can support you on your spiritual journey and help you survive some of your greatest challenges. When you connect with the energies of animals, you can learn a lot about yourself and the earth. You can also have instinctive animal energy within that can direct you toward everything you need and more. The Animal Guardian depicts a tribal angel being held and supported by her animals. This is the card, and that's in the PDF, so you all can see the pictures. She has a love for them, and they have a love for her, demonstrating how incredibly connected nature is with the spiritual realms. So when we're looking at our own spiritual needs and desires, remember, the animal spirits can really clarify things for us. This is the message. You have a powerful animal within that can be wild, protective, instinctive, and even calm. Animals don't second guess how they feel. They just express it, and you can learn from that. When this card arises, it's important to connect with how you really feel, how you want to feel, and what you really need. Take the time to connect with your animal energy and express it naturally. Let even the fiercest energy move through you before returning to your natural state. It will teach you a lot about your gifts and how you can grow. Deep breath. Spiritual needs and desires. Trust your instincts and turn to your animals for guidance. Now, guidance for your spiritual boundaries and protection. We got the Protection Guardian, which says drop your shields. I say activate your shields, but let's see what they say. Drop any shields of shame, resistance, and fear. Well, yeah, they should go. that are standing between you and your chances of enjoyment and fun. Know that you do not need to hide who you are or the gifts that you have. You were born to shine. The protection guardian is a feminine version of Archangel Michael. She is a fierce, protective, yet loving warrior angel who carries an indestructible shield of power and protection and will come to all who call on her. She will help you drop your fear-based shield and move into a loving, protective force field that will keep you safe but will allow your gifts to shine out. Although she is here to guard you from lower energies, she is completely relaxed, serene, and confident because she trusts that love will always prevail. Okay, deep breath. So guard against the lower energies. Keep your shields activated at all times. You may have encountered shame or embarrassment in your past, but that is not your present. Angels are drawing close at this time to help you move beyond any limiting thoughts, emotions, and patterns that may be making you feel unsafe. Know that angelic protection is swirling around you at this moment and will help you move forward in a more fearless way. Call on your guides for help in changing your frequency so that you can feel safe and protected at this time. You are stronger than you think, and your angels and ancestor guides are here to help you realize this right now. Deep breath. So calling in your protection guardians, knowing that your shields are also your magnetic field, so naturally magnetizing in what you do want and naturally repelling what you don't want or need or deserve, naturally, so that it's effortless. Guidance for navigating your spiritual beliefs and imagination, we got the mirror guardian. Take time to reflect. Take some time to reflect on your strengths and challenges and how far you have come. Recognize your gifts. Angels accept you just the way you are. Even when you're going through a challenging time, they still hold you in the highest esteem. Mirror guardian, a female angel looking into the mirror of life, invites you to witness your spiritual strength and beauty, to see yourself as angels do. The mirror represents the fact that your core beliefs and ideas are in fact what is reflected back to you by your world. Your life is one big mirror of the way you feel within, let's say. The mirror guardian helps you recognize that. When this card appears, you are being invited to take some time to see where you are right now. You are a beautiful being who has surmounted so many challenges and expanded in so many ways, Ashe. Your angels are now guiding you to take inventory of your life, to take the time to note all of your recent experiences, the challenges you have surmounted, the strengths you have developed, and the lessons you have learned. Your angels want you to reflect on your strengths, in particular, those aspects of yourself that you feel have not been acknowledged by others. Offer yourself approval where it is due, and know that when you give yourself credit, others will be able to as well. Ashe. So this is beliefs and imagination. Again, if we don't use it improperly, we can really imagine a new scenario, a new story taking root, a new way of navigating the magic which is coming up associated with you. So for guidance on navigating your spiritual vision and creativity, we got the Magic Guardian to unlock the magic within. Stop looking outside yourself and recognize that you have incredible power within. Magic, here spelled with a K, is the energy of the universe that allows you to manifest and create through the direction and power of your will. It changes according to your frequency. The Magic Guardian is a representation of the angel of magic who helps you direct your will to bring something into creation. She is the angel who swirls around shamans and wise ones when they are calling on the energy of magic to help them manifest something that will be healing and supportive of their path. She is the angel of all magic that is directed for the highest good of whoever is working it or working with it. You are the magic. You are the answer. You have it all within you. If you've been searching for an answer or a reason to focus, recognize that all that you are looking for is already within you. You are a powerful and magical person with the capacity to direct your intentions and will your desires into being. But your power can only be powerful when you own it. So take time to acknowledge it. Your ability to dedicate yourself to a goal and make it happen is a real gift that you are being guided to recognize at this time, Ashe. So that's your spiritual vision and creativity is when you allow yourself to get into the magic. It takes you to new levels, new dimensions, new possibilities. Now, guidance for navigating your spiritual rituals and practices. We got the Earth Guardian. Stay rooted and grounded. So again, get some, what do we usually say? Release unconscious habits and replace them with conscious practices. And rituals are generally practices and things we do over and over, making them sacred. Ceremony is kind of a moment in time that we make sacred. But either way, that's what we're doing. The Earth Guardian says, take time to connect deeply with the energy of Earth so that you can feel supported and make decisions based on strength and integrity. The Earth Guardian represents the angels of Earth who bring the medicine of feeling grounded and strong. They are the protectors of the land and the planet and can help you connect with your mission here and how you can support the evolution of the planet. The Earth Guardian on the card is a beautiful part angel and part elemental who is non-binary, showing that they are a divine being without a human gender. Their staff, adorned with a dream catcher, shows that they have the capacity to help you ground your dreams in reality. It's important for you to take a grounded approach to your current situation. If you're rushing ahead or making a decision based on your more fearful responses, you will miss out on the growth you deserve. Take some time to calm down and get grounded before proceeding further. Breathe, relax, and connect, and maybe that's our rituals and practices, just doing that every day. Breathe, relax, and connect with your own center. Then consider what to do, right? We raise our consciousness before we call things in. It's important to plant seeds that are going to grow into something beautiful rather than turn into a weed that you have to deal with. Deep breath. So this one is guidance for navigating your spiritual strategy and tactics. So we got the Direction Guardian. Choose your path. This one says, connect with your deepest desires, then choose the path that will make your heart and soul sing. Ashe. The Direction Guardian represents the angels of direction. These amazing angels are the ones who come to us when we are at the crossroads, like a legba, and don't know which way to go. When we are unsure of what is right for us or of the bigger picture, they can help us know what is best for all involved. The Direction Guardian refers to the vision of the Hebrew prophet Ezekiel, who is said to have seen an angel with 4 different faces. One was a child, one was a bull, one was a lion, and one was an eagle. These 4 faces show that angels can appear in many guises and guide us in many different directions, but always for our highest good. Your path is not set in stone, and your angels and guides have no expectations for you, nor should you have any for yourself. There are many directions you can take. None of them are wrong, as they all hold perfect opportunities to grow and to learn. But life is to be enjoyed and savored. So if you know that there is a decision to be made, and particularly if you're feeling indecisive, choose the path you know is going to make you light up, and choose with your heart. So strategies and tactics, like I said, on the spiritual side, it's like we're going to be operating from this invisible realm to affect the visible realm. And we want to do that in a way that is vital and brings life and energy to us, not be draining and whatnot. So now guidance for navigation or for navigating your spiritual attunement and connection. And we got the Air Guardian, who says shift your perception. So sometimes we might really have to look at it from another way. Change the way you think and you will change your whole reality. The Air Guardian represents the angels of the air element. Traditionally, air is all about thoughts, thinking, and everything that's happening in the mind. So these angels can help you to overcome any thoughts that have come back to haunt you from the past and to see the world more clearly. They are guiding you to change the way you think about certain situations, as this could be standing between you and your greatness. When this card arises, it's an opportunity to learn about your way of thinking. You are being guided to recognize that not all you see is exactly the way you see it, okay? Attunement and connection. This is where we're going deeper on. Sometimes the mind can play games, and sometimes our perceptions can be wrong. If you are being challenged or feel that there's a lack of clarity and direction in your life at the moment, there's a good chance that the way you are thinking or what you're focusing on has a lot to do with that reality. You are being guided to open your eyes and your mind, go beyond any limits that you have set for yourself, and recognize that the way you see the world is how you will experience the world. Opportunities are moving in your direction, but they will only open up for you if you are ready to do the internal work to support them. Deep breath. So again, being attuned and connected allows you to think clearly and make good decisions. Guidance for navigating your spiritual work and dedication. And we got the fire guardians. We got air and fire. Ignite your passion. Connect with your desires. The sparks could lead to something beautiful. The fire guardian represents the angels of fire. Fire is an energy that many people are afraid of, but shouldn't be. Burning desires can lead to great expansion. Allow the fire guardian to help you awaken a wilder side of yourself and burn away any fear or shame that stands between you and your desires. When this card appears, you are reminded that passion is powerful and absolutely encouraged by spirit. You are being guided by your angels to connect with a powerful energy of desire at this time. So work and dedication, if you have recently set, and this is your spiritual work, the things that, again, inspire you with that fire from within is really powerful. If you have recently set an intention to explore your sexual side or become more sexually open, the fire of desire can burn away any old setbacks that are preventing you from expressing that part of your nature. Now, we also associate sex with creativity, so either way. If you are in a relationship, this card can indicate a great spiritual and sexual connection with that fire for sure. So after work and dedication, this is spiritual activism, and the one shadow was the spiritual illusions and bypassing. So this is guidance for navigating your spiritual activism, which we got the guardian angel to say you are not alone. Very important because, again, as we go into activism, generally speaking, means we want to affect change in the social collective realms. That, again, rage to outrage. Rage can be paralyzing and hold you back and create more problems, whereas outrage is mobilizing. You're so upset you want to do something about it. That's the activism. But because the world is crazy and Neptune and Aries can glorify war and fighting in a way that it's really toxic, let's just say that, it's safer to go at it from a spiritual angle and do our activism from here and enlist our spirit team or past activists. We have affinity ancestors we can call on with this as well. So for spiritual activism, the guardian angel says, watch for signs and reminders from your angels and loved ones that they are close by. Remember, they are working hard to guide you. So this is popping into mind just because I do teach these classes with Yeye, and we both are pretty dedicated to this aspect of things, is that you should be choosing your activism based on your own healing work and things that you have experienced. You don't have to, but it helps when it's personal, and it's important because then the healing work you do on yourself unlocks things for others as well. And this is one of those times where you definitely want to know that you have your guardians around you, guardian angels, ancestors, animal spirit guides, orishas, whatever you got. The guardian angel on the card, it shows the white feather, which has become known as the guardian angel's business card. Whenever a white feather appears in your life and or this card appears in a reading, it's a message to say that your guardian angel and ancestor guides are particularly close at that time and are there to support you with their love. If you have asked for help with a particular situation, know that there is divine intervention in the works. Okay, so I should have been more specific. So let's say women's rights around their body. That's something that affects you as a woman and something you would want to do some activism around to change for the better, right? So that's what I meant about picking things that are close to your heart, close to your life, close to your body, that matter to you, because the spiritual work is intense energy work. So whatever you're going into to affect change, it's gotta be meaningful for you. It can't just be because everybody else is doing it, I'm going to go do it too. You know, it's got to be something that has deep, deep meaning for you. And everyone, it says, has a guardian angel who has been with them in all their past lifetimes and will be there in all the lifetimes to come. So know that you are never alone and never will be alone. This card is a reminder that there is always help and support available to you. Your guardian angel is with you now and is here to aid you in all your endeavors. In order to fully receive their support, first ask for it, then surrender to the process. So help always has to be invited to be spiritually correct. Know that whatever unfolds will be for your highest good. Ashe. So know that as you go into the activism for the things that you care about and that matter to you, you will always have a guardian angel with you. And the last one is navigating your spiritual illusions and bypassing, and we got the medicine guardian, which says be open to healing information. Listen to what is coming up within you and what is being shared with you by trustworthy others in your life. Pay attention to healing information in particular. Healing angels can help you heal emotionally, spiritually, and physically with their energy, but they can also direct you toward information that will help you return to wholeness. When this card appears, information is being revealed that can help heal an aspect of your current situation, whether that be your health, relationships, or even career, so be alert for this. The medicine guardian has the caduceus, which is a healing wand, which represents the capacity to heal with the power of will and desire. He also has a chalice, which represents returning to a state of wholeness, a state where your cup is no longer full but overflowing with goodness. Ashe. The emerald color of the card represents the healing rays of Archangel Raphael and his healing angels. The message says you are being exposed to information and insights that will have a dramatic healing effect upon your life. If you are working through something mentally or emotionally, know that there are spiritual energies supporting your healing. If you are working through something that is physically challenging, pay particular attention to information that's coming to you that feels inspired, insightful, and warm. It will be supportive of your wellness. Your angels are here to remind you that your natural state is one of wholeness, and you are on the road to revealing that wholeness once more. Deep breath. So any illusions and delusions, we're letting go of those so that we can be here now and be present in our body, mind, and spirit and making good choices, but also really leaning into our relationship with our spirit team is a huge part of that. So that's what I got. Thank you for being with me live and helping me hold it down. Peace and love. This is Kelly signing off.